So anyway, we're bringing our first guest on. She has a memoir, and she has a very compelling story. Her memoir is called "Surviving Paris," and oh, if you could turn your yeah, so we can see, and unmute your mic so we can hear you. We want to welcome Robin Allison Davis to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
When I saw your title, Surviving Paris, it made me think of the movie and book Scratch, From Scratch, I think it's called.
Mhm.
Because I think, did she go to Paris or Rome? Anyway, it made me think of that book. And when I saw just read about what your book is about, it's not the same subject. So, everybody, when people think about Paris, they think about love and romance. It's like it's the atmosphere of Paris. And tell us a little bit about your background and what sent you to Paris.
Well, I am born and raised in the DC area, and I am a journalist. I worked for many years in television. I still do. And I was living in New York after graduating from Howard University, living in New York for 10 years, working in television as a journalist. And I just thought, what if life could be different? I was traveling more because it was the beginning of like the Black travel movement. And I would go places with my friends and I would think, what if I lived abroad? Like, kind of a crazy idea, but why not? And I kept putting it off. And then I was thinking, okay, well, let me apply for jobs abroad and just see. And I wasn't getting anything because I didn't have the right to work. And I really just decided to take the leap to just quit my job and try to do the student visa route and see if I could just live life differently abroad. And I wanted to do it before a husband, before kids. I was like, if not now, when?
Right, right. So what when you were actually in Paris, right?
At the moment, you mean?
No, when you decided to move, because I mean, I'm I know when you start to feel uncomfortable and then you
Mhm.
decide to move. I'm wondering, did you go to Paris or did you go to a city outside of Paris? I've been all over France, so that's
Mhm.
why I'm wondering.
No, I moved to Paris. I tried to decide what I needed out of a city to be happy after 10 years in New York City and a lifetime in the DC area. And I thought about wanting diversity, wanting green space, lots of cultural things to do. I had quite the list. And I said, you know what? Paris kind of matches that. Why don't I just try to move to Paris? And so, yes, I moved to Paris. And that was 9 years ago now.
Wow, was it what you expected?
Oh, absolutely not.
I was waiting for you to say that. I tell people all the time, Paris is so overrated.
Well, I won't say that. It's my new hometown, but
Oh no, well, I lived in Belgium, so I
Mhm.
was in Paris quite a bit when I was in Europe, and
Mhm.
there are lots of beautiful parts of Paris, but some of the other towns around Paris, I just
Yes.
like them a little better.
Yes. I mean, France is just a beautiful country. There's so
Yes.
much to see. And I actually really love Belgium too. I talk about Belgium in the book, actually. And I decided to move to Paris, and it just wasn't, I'd visited before, I'd visited 3 times, but visiting and living someplace is not
Yeah,
the
it's
same.
different.
Different.
It's
Yes,
different.
it's different.
Very different. You're worried about, okay, I need to get my papers, I need to set up my mail, my utilities, all these different things in a different language. And these things weren't so easy to set up back then. We didn't have all the little TikToks of people telling you what to do. There was none of that.
Oh
So,
yeah, that's true.
yeah, I just felt like I was really kind of thrown into a situation where I thought it would be a little easier, but it wasn't.
Did you know the language? I mean, because you probably knew a little bit of French, but did you feel that you were fluent by the time you moved there?
Oh, absolutely not. No. So I, all my life, I'd studied Spanish. It was even my minor at Howard. So I did not have the foresight to think that I would be going to France to study French. But I did take a class in New York before I left. It was a class of 70 people, so you only learn but so much. And then I also had a tutor, but still, once I got there, I was pretty much still a beginner. I didn't know much of the language. And I really had to pick it up while living there. But thankfully, the master's program that I moved for, it was in English. So
That's
that
Okay.
good.
helped.
That
Yeah.
was helpful.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm from people who move places, they say when you immerse yourself in the language, that's when you really pick it up. But
Hmm.
just starting from zero, um, it's difficult in another language. And then um, I don't know if this is true. I know that it was a problem in Canada with the French and the English. You know, the people, the French speaking Canadians didn't really want to speak English. So in France, are there a lot of English speakers?
There are quite a few people that can speak English in France, more than what people say, actually. It seems like nowadays, if you're in a major city, you will always find someone who knows
Right.
some level of
It's
English.
harder when you go to the smaller cities.
Yes, when you go to the smaller cities, when you go to the villages, that's where you really, there's no one that will speak English. But for the most part, you can always find someone who understands a little bit.
But did you find it that I know I found it almost a hindrance because I would struggle with the little bit of French that I knew. I would, maybe go to a cafe or I'd go to one of the little vendors and I would try to speak in my broken French and they would see me struggling and they say, I speak English. I can help you. And be like, no, I don't want you to speak English. I'm trying to learn.
Yes, I talk about that in the book. It's just you want to progress in your French, but so many people, the minute they hear something that flags you as an English speaker, they want to speak English to you. And it's like, no, I'm trying to improve. How will I improve if you keep switching?
Right.
And even 9 years now, I still have certain tells where people can tell, oh, she's an English speaker. Let me speak to her in English. And I have to tell them, no, no, I live here. We were speaking in French. Let's continue in French.
Right, right.
So are you joining us from Paris?
I'm not. So I am actually in the US right now. I'm in Maryland doing my book tour for Surviving
Oh,
Paris.
wonderful. You're probably
Okay.
right down the street from me. I live in Maryland.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What part of
Yeah.
Maryland are you in?
I, I'm in Prince George's County.
Ooh.
Okay. We probably are right down the street from each other, right down the
What,
Beltway.
which city?
Upper Marlboro.
I knew you were going to say Upper Marlboro. No, I'm out in Accokeek, right outside of Waldorf.
Oh, okay. That's not too far from where I grew up because I grew up in Fort Washington.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I spent some time in Washington. I went to Georgetown, so I was there for 4 years, and then I was there. But I've been in Houston a long time. So and visiting a place is different from moving there. Even though I've been here a long time, but when I first got here, I struggled. Um, just culturally, it's different. Now I'm a real Texan now because I've been here a long time. But at first it takes a while, and here is so spread out
Hmm.
that meeting people, unless you meet people at work, which my first job here, I was the only Black person, so it was like a horror story.
Yeah.
So, anyway, just moving to a new city is a challenge. You have to
It
learn
is.
everything. You have to learn
It
where
is.
things are.
You have to learn everything and then you have to find your community. And one thing
Yes,
about Paris is that people move all the time because people are coming for work, they're finding new jobs or they're going back to see their family. So it does take a while to settle in. I personally have the theory that it takes 2 years to settle in anywhere. And I would say about the same is true for me when I showed up in Paris in 2016. By 2018, I felt like I'd really hit my stride and started to find my community.
yeah,
Wonderful.
that's so true.
What
So,
was it that's, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gwen.
well, something happened once you moved to Paris that was
Yes.
traumatic, and so tell us about that.
So in 2018, when I felt like I was hitting my stride, I just gotten a new job and I was excited. Okay, I'm finally having the international career that I was hoping for. I was diagnosed with breast cancer
Hmm.
and it was shocking for me. I was 34 years old, no family history. My doctor felt a lump in my breast and we went through a lot of testing And when she diagnosed me, it was on June 25th, and I saw the surgeon. They said, okay, we want to do a mastectomy on July 12th. So it was very fast.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Very fast. Yes.
Mm.
And it was shocking to me. And I didn't know. I mean, it crossed my mind, should I go back to the US for treatment where my family is, or should I stay? And in the end, I decided to stay because if they wanted to operate so fast, does that mean my cancer is aggressive? Who knows how long it will
That
take for
makes
me to
sense.
move back and get in the system in the US?
Right.
So ultimately, I stayed there to get my treatment.
Oh, wow. So, now, did you meet someone? Did you form a relationship, like a romantic relationship while you were in Paris? Or was it basically just friendships?
Oh no, I did a lot of dating.
Oh,
As
okay.
you said people think about romance when they think about Paris. Oh, there was romance. The romance
Oh,
was
okay.
there. Yes, in the book I talk about the many ups and downs of my dating life. I did have a relationship that ultimately did not work out. I think that just because of everything that I had gone through, it just wasn't the right time and he just wasn't the right person for me. But it was interesting to me how dating is so different in France as compared to my experiences in the US. It seemed
Oh,
like I was meeting I was meeting a different caliber of man, but also there were so many cultural differences as well.
so was the caliber better or not as good? I'll put it like
In
that.
some aspects better and in some aspects not. I'm
Okay.
not going to put down our American brothers, but in
Okay.
some aspects the French are edging them out. And for example, living in New York City, I would date someone for like a year and they would say, oh, we're not in a relationship, we're just talking, or something like that. And whereas in France, when you are pretty much on three dates, 4 dates, you're considered in a relationship.
After one phone call, they say they love you.
Yes, things tend to move at a faster clip. I'll say there's no fear of commitment, I found, in terms of relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Now, does
and that,
that mean that they commit quickly, but it can also end quickly?
yes, that's exactly what
Okay.
it means. That is exactly it.
Okay, that's what I wonder. Every system has its own little quirks, whatever the
Yes.
system is. And so relationships. Now, did you when you dated in France, were you meeting people online or were you meeting people as you were about your profession and just about town?
It was both. It was primarily, I would say, online because that is what a lot of people do there, or they find people through work. And I don't know, maybe I'm too American, but I don't like the idea of dating a coworker. It's something
Okay.
that's still a little too much for me, but it was primarily online. And a lot of the men, they were fluent in English. I told them, hey, I want to speak French, let's speak French. But they saw it as the opportunity to speak English with an American. So that was often the case.
Okay. And what about the cultural aspects of it? Um, were you dating people from all backgrounds or
Yes, I was dating from all different backgrounds. I dated someone who, I mean, for the most part, they were all French, but they were Black French. It was Armenian French. It was white French. It was all these different types of, it was people from Tunisia, from Morocco, from Senegal, Ivory Coast, all these different cultures that have come together and they were born and raised in France, or they moved to France for school and stayed.
okay,
An
okay.
extremely diverse dating pool over there, very diverse.
Well, were you in a relationship of sorts when this happened to you, when you found out about the breast cancer, and how did those dynamics work out? I mean, because you were there basically by yourself. Did you have a support system that kind of surrounded you?
I was not in a relationship because when I was diagnosed in 2018, I was focusing on trying to get a job. And I had this little internship that they said could turn into a job. So I was so focused on that. I was working all the time, trying to make this Paris dream work out. And I wasn't seeing anyone, but at least I had my friends. And thankfully, in 2018, my family was able to fly over and be with me. But I will say, I was diagnosed with cancer a second time in
Oh
2020.
no. Okay.
Yes, during the
Oh,
pandemic when my family could not fly over because the borders were closed.
oh,
And
wow.
at that point, my Paris community really banded together to be my support.
Oh, wow. That's great. Well, it
Mhm.
was good that you found closeness, close relationships there because it's not always easy. Now, were you working in journalism or was that your plan? Were you able to still pursue journalism in France?
Well, it was my plan to pursue journalism in France, but when you need working rights and they're not necessarily wanting to sponsor, I decided to pivot. And so I pivoted into communications. So I was working a job in communications and it was quite different. I really missed journalism. I missed the fast pace of everything, of when breaking news happens, you have to fly into action. I missed that a lot. So I was working in communications, which was it was a hard it was a hard pivot for me. It was.
Were you having to write in French?
I'm sorry?
Were you having to do the writing, like the communications part in French, in the French language
It was an
with
international
the email?
company, so I was doing it both in French and English.
Oh,
I would do only a little bit in French, and then I would have my French coworkers check it over for certain things. But it was a good amount of work in French. And even our meetings in the office would switch back and forth within the same meeting between French and English, sometimes within the same sentence.
Yeah, I've seen that. I love how they go in and out of the languages all in one conversation. They'll be
Yes.
speaking French for a few minutes and all of a sudden they kind of ease into English and then ease back to French. And I'm like, how do you guys do that?
Yes, it was a total trial by fire sitting in these meetings and having that happen, especially if I had zoned out for a moment. I was like, "Oh no, wait, I missed what they were saying." So it really improved my French though.
Well, I also want to talk about life after the diagnosis. So you're still there. Of course, you're still there now.
Hmm.
What was life like trying to get back to normal? You're trying to get back to working, you're trying to get back to dating, and you're still dealing with life after.
Yes, yes. Life after it's been difficult. It's been a roller coaster, to be honest, because when you are going through active treatment for cancer, you're just thinking, okay, I'll just do what the doctors say, step after step. I'm just going to do this. And then when it stops, you're left to deal with the grief of the whole situation. Everything sets in. So thankfully, I was still going to church. I have a therapist. I do meditation. I do Pilates. I do all the different things. But it it's always a process. And
Right.
from what I understand from people who have been through it much farther back than I have, it'll always be a process.
That's
mm.
true. That is true.
So how did you find the healthcare system in France compared to the United States?
The healthcare system in France is
Because
it's
isn't it
got
social? Is it
yes.
government healthcare?
Yeah, so is a socialist country, and the healthcare is much cheaper. It's not free. I know a lot of people say that it's free. It's not free, but it's a lot cheaper. And I would say the number one thing is that doctors are more concerned about getting you well because they don't have to worry about, oh, what's the budget for this? Can we afford, will your insurance cover this test? Will you get denied or delayed for this test? They can order whatever they want and you can go get it. And I feel like for me, the second time I had cancer, that was really the most apparent. I was so glad to be in France. My doctor felt a lump in my armpit on the same side I had a mastectomy. And
Mhm.
they said, okay, well, let's do the biopsy. It was fine. Do blood work, fine. MRI, fine. Sonogram, fine. PET scan, fine. And my doctor said, you know what, this doesn't sit right with me. Let's just open you up, take it out, and take a look. And I was thinking to myself, wow, like back when I was living in the US, the insurance I had, they would have stopped it once the biopsy said it was fine, you know? But that's how they ended up finding that it was cancerous.
Oh,
And
Wow.
it scares me to think about if I had been in the US under that same type of coverage, at what stage would they have finally found it, you know? So that's one big difference that I really like. You're not subject to the delays and the denials of insurance companies.
yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Mm,
I've heard that same thing. And you're right, it's not free, but
mm,
the care is just different.
Hmm.
And, I don't even know how to say, like the medical care that we get here is great medical care, but it's often dependent on how much money you have, which is a very sad
Exactly.
state of affairs.
yeah.
Yes.
Mm,
Yes. Everyone says, "Oh, how much would all this have cost if you were in the US?" And I'm like, I don't even want to think about it.
Right.
mhm. Yeah. And the other thing, when you get healthcare here too, if you're dealing with a specialist,
Hmm.
even though people compare, they say you have to wait when it's government run healthcare, like in Canada or
Hmm.
France and some other countries. But you have to wait 2 months to see a specialist here most of the time. If you need to make an appointment, and I don't really have to see a specialist, but my husband does. I take care of his, he has three different specialists. And to get an appointment is 2 months.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you go and they say, okay, the follow up is whenever it is, if you have to cancel that follow up appointment and change it, it's 2 months. You can't,
Hmm.
you can't get in.
Yes.
So while yes, the quality seems to be there, I haven't been in another country and needed health care. So I haven't experienced it yet.
Well, it
Uh,
is for some things you do have a long wait in France. Like for example, dermatologists. It's extremely hard to get an appointment with a dermatologist in France. And so that's one of the problems now. But it's not the same in terms of needing an in-network provider or out-of-network
right.
providers. There's just providers. Whoever you can
Okay.
find, you can go to. And there are different tiers of payment for how much it costs and how much you'll be reimbursed, but you're free to see anyone.
Oh, okay. Well, that's helpful.
It
That
is.
is helpful.
Yeah. So, how did you conclude your Paris experience in terms of overall? Do you have any regrets? Would you have gone sooner had you had the opportunity, or not gone at all? What? How do you assess your Paris experience?
Well, I mean, I still live in Paris, so I must like it enough. It's been a roller coaster, but I think I went at the exact right time. I'm glad that I went when I went. Everything worked out the way it was supposed to. I became a French citizen actually 2 years ago.
Wonderful. Wow.
Yes,
So yeah, I think you're
So,
there to stay.
yes,
so do you have
yeah,
dual citizenship, or you?
yes, I
Okay.
have dual.
Okay.
So that's been just a wonderful opportunity. And I'm so bonded to France because of everything that happened to me there. And they are the country that saved my life, not just once, but twice.
Well,
So,
that's the way to look at it because it's
mhm,
absolutely true. I mean, it's good that I mean, I hate that that happened to you, but it happened in a place where you were able to get the help that you needed.
yes, yes. And that's
Mhm.
ultimately what is the most important. I'm trying to not live my life with regrets. So I don't want to think back, oh, what if I had done this or what if I had done whatever happened, happened. And
Right.
I'm happy where I am now in my life. Things are good.
A
Uh,
final question. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
well,
Were
I
you
was
about
going to
to
ask
say?
her if she had the book so she could show it to us.
Yes. Yes, I do.
'Cause we
Yes.
hadn't we hadn't done that yet. We normally do it at the
Yes.
beginning, but I like the
Fighting
cover.
Paris.
Mm.
Well, I was just going to ask. First of all, the cover is beautiful,
Thank
Mm.
but
you.
we're going into Breast Cancer Awareness Month,
Hmm.
and it's very important that you tell your story because I think that even though African American women have a higher occurrence of breast cancer, we're often we also have a higher mortality rate because sometimes it's found late or we don't get the care. And so
Hmm.
I think that this is an important time for you to tell your story
Mhm.
and to kind of start your platform. And I'm wondering if this was timely. I know your book was just released on the 16th of September, but going into Breast Cancer Awareness Month, are you using this as a platform?
Yes, I am, because I think a lot of things that happen to me, a lot of women can relate too, as well as I want to share the message of advocating for yourself because it's something that I had to do as I was going through my breast cancer treatment. And because women are being diagnosed much younger, it's hard for young women to advocate for themselves, single women, and women of color, Black women, to advocate for themselves. And we need to really trust our gut and push for what we think is right for our health, for our bodies. And early prevention is so, so, so important. Early detection, I'm sorry. Early detection is very important. And if everyone can just kind of always do your self exams, always be in touch with your body to know what's going on, the sooner you catch it, the better it works out.
Right.
Absolutely.
Were you having any symptoms before they found the lump?
Just a lump. That was it. I'd actually felt the lump myself, but I didn't know what it was. To me, because I'd never felt anything like that before, it didn't feel like what I thought breast
A
cancer
lump
was
would
supposed to
feel
feel
like.
like.
Hmm.
And then the
Right.
second time, when it was in my armpit, I hadn't even noticed it at all.
Wow.
This is why it makes it so important that, that we continue to spread awareness. So that's why I'm really excited that you are telling your story at the time that you're telling it. And I think that because October is coming up, people are going to be listening more for your story. So can you tell us where we can find your book?
Yes, my book is sold everywhere books are sold. It's in Amazon. It's on in Barnes and Noble. It's in all the independent bookstores. So if you look on Bookshop, you can order it online if you want to get it from an independent bookstore. And I will be touring the country. I will be in Atlanta this coming up weekend. Then I will be in Chicago. I have a book event there, also in LA and in Philadelphia. So I would love to see people on the book tour.
Okay. And
Okay.
are your tour dates on your website?
Yes, they are.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we did put the order link for the book in the chat, and we can also put your website in the chat as well, so
Okay.
people will
Yeah.
be able to find out where they can find you. So welcome back home to Maryland.
Thank you.
And thank you once again for telling your story. I hope one day when I'm able to get, I wish I had known you were there or met you a couple years ago when I was in Paris on vacation. But now that I know you're there, I'd love to stay in touch.
Yes, yes, definitely. Let me know when you're in Paris. I will be there.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the show, and congratulations on the release of your book and your being a survivor, a healthy survivor. So,
Amen.
as you look totally healthy.
Ah,
So
thank
that's
you.
that's great, and
I am.
I'm glad it was detected early and that you got proper care.
Yes, I am as well. I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, well, enjoy your book tour, and
Thank you.
yeah, and your trip back home to Paris.
Thank
Yes.
you. And everyone can keep up with me on survivingparis.com. That's where all the tour dates are listed.
Oh, okay, the
Or
booktitle.com.
survivingparents.com.
Yes.
I was
Okay,
just wondering. Okay.
so
Okay.
what the website is? Okay, survivingparis.com. Okay, great. Thank you so much, and
Thank
have a
you.
great night.
You as well. Good night.
Okay,
All right,
good
take
night.
care. Bye-bye.